Yeah. 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 Onegaishimasu. Okay. I always am recorded facing that way. So why don't we move a little bit to the side? We'll kind of pretend that's the dojo, and so we're lining up between techniques that way. Okay. But socially distance or space. Okay. And what I want you to do right now, uh, focus on that 0.2 inches below the navel. You hear about it a lot. We're supposed to develop that, or, it's supposed to be important. Okay. Now, when you're doing that, focusing, you're not thinking. Normally, I'm trying to do something, I'm out there, my mind's overly active, it's very noisy. But just take a second or two and focus on that point. Now, down there, you got ground or feet going on. And up there, space, higher consciousness. But let's just focus on that point. Okay? And the point about that point is always there. But we get caught up in what's going on out there. And so a couple of things. There's ground down here. Most of the time I'm going to set to do a motion, but what if that point is suspended between that and that? In other words, you can go this way, try that. That's different than setting and dropping your weight. Bend your knees, but you're supported by that point. Okay. Conversely, more normal posture. You don't want to walk around like this, okay? All right? And wherever you do, there's that point. Now, when I turn, try turning. I go out there to turn. My attention goes out. My attention goes out. Try right, left, left, right. Just turn the body. Okay? Yeah. Now, let's see that point. That point can be still, but can also turn. But when it turns, you don't see it turn. It's that point. And that point's also suspended. In other words, it's gravity, right? All right. So we're being pulled down by gravity. No, that point is suspended between there and there. And if that point starts to turn, it's very easy. In other words, I'm going to turn. I see that out there, but the point's already rotating that way. So just try that a bit. Okay. Now, the other thing we're going to do, so that point, in some sense, I move, but that point is the point. Now, when I move, I obviously take the point with me, but it's like the point doesn't think out there. Okay. And you can put a spin on that point, or that point can be very, very still. Okay. So we orient it in terms of movements, but there's always that point going on. Yeah. It's been a tough year. All during this tough year, that point's been there. And hopefully a better year coming up. And in that better year, that point's going to be there. It's not that, I'm going to think about that point. Yeah, it helps. But no, that's there. It's inside you. It's a constant. And so when I start to do that, for example, it starts to turn, makes it easier to turn. So I better turn. Oh, it's already rotating. You don't see it, do you? But that motion is easy. It's almost like that point is connected to noisy I mind is a lousy computer. Finer sense of yourself, finer computer. Body, stiff, maybe out of it. So this point kind of connects you to a better level of your mind and a better level of your body. Okay. Now there's more than that point, but that point is a pretty good thing to work on. How do you work on it? We're doing it right now. All you're doing is focusing on that. Now, that doesn't mean you can't focus on what's going on out there, but you're going from the central point out, not, okay, here I am, and that's going on, and what I'm here, I think I'm here, that. Okay? So right from where you are, put your right foot forward. We start a lot of things out here, and we get really busy about what we're doing, but just focus on that point. It's almost like when you focus on that point, your larger computer hooks in. And we not, like, oh, what's a good day? Everything flows, which means you sort of have to know what you're doing, but you don't get in the way of everything going right. Okay? And what's a good day body-wise? You feel free. Not like, Curry had a horrible first half last night. And I was thinking, well, he's been carrying this team for a whole month. He should be tired, not just physically, but emotionally, even spiritually. And what happened? Click. He found it. She said, "Oh no, it's another horrible, crappy loss to a bad team." That's what this crazy computer says. That's not his computer. Yeah, I sucked. I'm tired. I wish I had some support. Bingo, let's go. Okay, you see what I mean? Okay, so we let circumstances dictate us to be in a very lesser level. Okay, now let's come out this way. All right, so we'll kind of go here. He's coming in this way. We're going to go this way. All right, now the circumstances that we're supposed to do something. Now, so, we're somewhat socially distanced mask. Okay, we're also okay. Boom. What's going on here? I'm going out there testing the waters. It's like I'm 2 for 10. It looks like this is going to be another sucky day if you're a Warrior fan. Okay, fun goes in. So the greats have an ability to say, okay, I'm not going to let the circumstances define me. And part of that is, you ask him, do you have this point here? He probably have his own description of it. Okay. But, right about here, then we're going to move over here. Boom. From that point, see the contact here. I don't do something stupid like force anything, or conversely say, I suck today, I better not do anything. Okay. Now all of a sudden, I'm in the game flow. And then after a couple of exchanges, I am the game flow. Pretty easy. I scored double the other team's goal. Okay, this is the outer. Just a little piece of infinity in there. And we ignore it all the time. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go to my right hand. We test the waters, but there's that point. When we get that point, things start to move. We're in the flow, which I can't be when I'm looking out there letting the world dictate who I am. Okay, so we're just going to do the off the line. Put your hand here. How do I do that? Well, why don't you kind of this take you to a fine computer or into a fine level of body? and see. Okay, so let's go.
Can't understand what you're saying.
Let's, okay, yeah. Why don't you move the other way? You can go that way, but
Go ahead.
Right side, yeah. Okay. Now, you don't want it to turn into, okay, that starts out really good, and then it turns into a pull. Right? Oh. No. See, a lot of this is fragile. We trust this. And then we get caught up, in the game situation. Oh my God, I'm dreading this game. It's a trap game. They're going to lose to another crap team. All of a sudden, Curry finds his flow. All of a sudden, he's a game flow. Okay, let's pick yours up. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things about point, I'm letting the circumstance dictate who I am. When I kind of find that, I find a little bit more of the finer computer and the finer level of who I am. Then all of a sudden, and all of a sudden, say, it's like, why in the world go, we suck. I suck. Yeah, you do. But the greats don't do that. It's almost like the point itself is there whether you suck or not. So why don't you just, find the point? All of a sudden, we're not purely a slave of what's going on out there. Okay? All right? So try it again. Go to your right. And now you're still too quick out there in the movement. You got, maybe it locks up on you. Go back in here. Focus. Focus. It's focus, not thinking or doing. It's focus. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. What I know about Curry, right? I was tired because the thing that's going for him is his concentration. He's been carrying that team, 6'3", 190 pounds, carrying that whole stupid franchise for a month. Yes, Steph, you are entitled to be exhausted. But he understands there's an on switch. Right? Yeah, it's not. But he doesn't think that way. You see what I mean? All right? The champions have that. Right? They just have that ability. Go ahead. Yeah, okay, now free it up some more. So that point is just hanging there. Yeah. If you can touch that point, it change, you're not a slave of what's going on. If you have to keep your mouth shut, you will. You won't do something stupid. If you need to step up and add your voice to something, you'll do it. No, it's not my place to say this. Maybe it is. Or conversely, it's like, yeah, you can really mess this up if you say something really dumb and inappropriate. So sure. There's that point going on for both of those choices, aren't there? Okay? Right? Okay, now one of the things here, for example, that point itself is very free. I go out here, that world is not free, but I'm letting that world kind of dictate who I am. Curry couldn't hit anything. Now all of a sudden, boom, it's like, the flick of the wrist from 30 feet, nothing but net. Great. I wish I could do that. In other words, the world may suck, which it has over the last year. And here we are, letting that just sort of bring us down, correct? This point's going on. So is it magic? Not really. We all have a finer mind, a better computer, okay? And we also have levels of body that are freer, more integrated. And that's kind of a gateway, right? It's a gateway. In other words, so what am I going to do? Well, there's that point, isn't there? I'm going to look at it, think about it. That's different than just saying, okay, it's just hanging there, suspended between that and that. It ain't stressing, it ain't doing anything. It isn't also unrealistically optimistic about things. It's just kind of cool. Okay, you see what I mean? And if the Aikido, the tendency sometimes is to learn all that stuff out there, but we don't pay any attention to that, which is the central teaching, right? Okay, let's kind of come in and line up over there like we're going to do. Okay, now, how much does that point weigh? Doesn't weigh anything. It's just suspended there. Now, suspended is kind of interesting because, it's not relying on this or it's not hanging from up there. It's just there. It's almost like it's suspended between there and there, right? Well, since they talked about it in ways that maybe were more difficult to get, like, the point, the Big Bang came out of, we call that Su. It was a sound, it was a word. And he talked about the floating bridge of heaven. Where is it? Well, supposedly it's right here. Well, that's heaven, but I'm here, or I wish I was there, or this is pretty bad. It's suspended between. Now, if you have to go a little deeper, so you're not dropping your weight, so that point suspended supports you down here. And likewise, you have spiritual aspirations, but you are, that point anchors you. Okay. So how much does it weigh? Has no weight. But you see, gravity is more like body. Okay. Mind for me is more like electromagnetism. They're two attractive forces. They're not the same. Okay. I mean, you can be in total deep space with no gravity, but magnetism will still attract. Okay. Okay. They're not the same. In fact, what is gravity? Gravity is nothing about weight at all. It's about curvature in space-time. Okay? Mass creates a curvature. Other lesser masses are in relationship to that curvature. Yeah. Or conversely, you take a lot of energy, you can bend space-time, and that creates that curvature, which means something is going to be pulled towards it. Okay, so you got energy and you've got mass. I think Wada Sensei found, my theory lately, he found a third factor could curve space-time. Consciousness. Now, is consciousness mental or physical? It's both. Yeah, you've got a mind and you've got a body. Metaphorically speaking, heaven is more like mind, earth is more like body. So we're kind of right there. So the balance point between, now most of the time I'm out there and letting everything out there dictate who I am. So take a second or two, locate that point, which is different than thinking about it. Trying to do it. Look at me, I have a 1 point. It's not that way. That was the old thing about, Toei Sensei taught 1 point, everybody walked on the mat with their stomach stuck out. So, there's an area where that's good. Yeah, but, and Toei Sensei said this. He says, people don't understand that because they put their weight here and they move things better out there. He says, there's no weight to the 1 point. You don't move weight with weight. Okay. Now, for example, if we come this way and he comes in, we go here, he comes in, right? Now, right here, I can move him, but if all of a sudden space-time curves over here, what did I do? I just sort of, in a sense, created gravity out there, which created his motion. That's my thesis of the moment. Einstein said two things create the curvature in space-time. Mass, the sun, mass, the earth orbits the sun. because of the mass of the sun, it creates the curvature. Okay? Mass, energy. You put enough energy out, you can curve space-time, and that creates gravity. Gravity can create movement. Right about here. Okay. Now we're here. Now my procedure is more like, go here, empty the stupid mind. Bruce Lee called it the busy mind. And get it more into a fluid sense of yourself. And all of a sudden, that point is my gateway to what I would call consciousness. And I think Sensei had this. And, to some degree, some of the students got a little bit of it. But it's like anything else, the master sometimes understands something. Nobody else works as much. Okay, you see what I mean? So if we were to kind of do this, for example, here, it's like boom, boom, boom. You sell it again. Okay, get to that point. See, that doesn't weigh anything. Now I'm going to get that point so I can move him better. No. If I can do that, then all of a sudden I create that. It goes that way. Well, yeah. I create the pull that way, and I create the pull this way. Your consciousness at Sensei's level, maybe at our level to a lesser degree, can create that curvature in space-time. So we see matter, energy moving off of that curvature. We call it ki. That make any sense? You don't have to totally get this and become a mathematical whiz, okay? Makes sense? Sorta. Yeah. Makes Doctor Who sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's all I'm about. Okay. All right. Yeah, I know. Let's reverse the polarity of neutron flow and stand on the floating bridge of heaven. That would be good. Okay, so anyway, that's what we're about. Now, what we can do is I'll put this down. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go over here. All right, go this way. So now, instead of going that way, we're going to go this way. In fact, what's tricky, I'm heading this way, but I don't want to go that way. There's a hungry alligator over there. So I said, boom. Hungry alligator, I don't want to go that way. Like, larger computer says, don't follow the trap of routinely following form. All right. Now, boom. Boom. See, what I like about Curry, he's not big. He's not, he came here, he'd be a giant. Hi, Steph. But he looks small. All right. He is compared to the other redwoods there. All right. It's like boom, 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 boom. But just that little flick of the wrist from 40 feet and change the game. Wait. Well, see, if that bends down there, it creates motion. Now, if that bends up, it creates motion that way. So you're going to go the other way. Now I'm putting one hand here. It's like I'm in a thrust position. Well, anti-gravity would be the ability to create a parachute of curvature, and then all of a sudden we could be Superman. I haven't figured out how to do that in the real world yet, unfortunately. Okay, so we're going to go this way. My first move is here. Not there to get better results out there, but just to say, okay, I'm going to get out of this limited mind-body system. This is my ticket. Okay, so let's change partners. Yeah. See, if you're trying to move him, you get caught out there. So what is a more advanced level of mind? Okay, we're going to come to this one. It's imagination, undertow. See, you're getting a better level. No, let's hold blip here. What do we do here? Ready for it? I'm going to reverse the polarity of the neutrons. What does that mean? Ground zero. Neutrons have no polarity. What is it? Plus or minus zero? It doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't hold for zero, does it? And that's a little bit what this point is, right? And we get so caught up out there with letting them define us that, I could have practiced a little bit. We're going, okay, I'm going to work on my ability to shift the odds. See what I mean? Yeah, I mean, we're going to be like O-sensei. Maybe we can be a little bit. Right, if he's coming in this direction, we go over here, boom, boom. It's a little different, and he's here. Okay. But if I can create a curvature back there, you see, the nice thing about space-time, right? And the curvature in space-time. Well, space-time is geometry. Okay, matter is physics. Einstein basically his basic thing is this and that. There's an equal sign. The math geometry on this side equals that. That's relativity. Okay. Yeah, I would just say that if Sensei and Einstein met, Sensei would probably tell him something like, you really are very close to it when you say things like, you just want to know God's thoughts. Okay. All right. Or imagination is more important than what you know. You're really close to it. Your laboratory is all that stuff. But your laboratory is mind, and you have enough body sense that you can sense in your thought experiment how things should be, given the fact that you're not thinking like everybody else. But you can do more, Albert, because you don't realize yet that consciousness can change that. If we actually can bend space-time and curve space-time, then my God. All right? Curry does it every time he hits one from 40 feet. Try to get it there, from 40 feet. Let me tell you, that's not easy. Get it there with 40 feet with touch. Get it there with some stupid idiot trying to stop you when you're out there 40 feet. So this is our ticket. Anytime you can just sort of clear and let that point just hang with itself. We come across as being a lot cooler. Not quite so busy and obsessed about things, or not so. I'm going to retreat from the world. We're right in it. We just have a ticket to a better world, and a better level of ourselves. Okay, so that's kind of the one point. Okay. Okay, now one of the things about it, you're kind of too quick with the hands. This puts me out there. Oh, hands are secondary. No, I need the hands. Yeah, but the point is up. The point is up. Right now we got that, and we go this way. There's a lot of things we can do. The movements themselves, they sort of. If he gives me this for a second, good. Let go. I give it to him right here. All of a sudden. Even in motion here. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's like boom, boom, boom. Right. If we could curve space-time, all matter and energy be attracted to that direction of the curvature. But if I'm a little too quick out there, all right, I'm stuck here. Got it? Good. Got it. Okay, good. And the more weight I give that, the stronger it is. Boy, this stupid pandemic has destroyed this and that, and I'm giving it all that weight as opposed to that point is just hanging there. And hey, if we spend it, I'm sure we could be all enlightened Zen masters if we use the pandemic in the proper way. You see what I mean? But instead, we get caught up in the, the circumstances dictate us. We're saying, just practice every once in a while. What you're really going to do is you're going to, and the freedom of it, if here, it's like a little emotion here. If it comes in like freedom. If you come in, whatever. Right? Now we're kind of going there. It's freedom. Now you're dictating. Okay. Now, so I'm just going to go here. All I got to do is a little blip in space time. All of a sudden, it pulses, right? What do I have to do? That to some degree, imagine that blip. Mind, imagination is not imaginary; it's real. But mind gets caught up in all this, so we don't tap the power of imagination. And then all of a sudden, the body represents intention, and then we're at a much better place. Yeah, this really sucks. But on the other hand, there's freedom here. You see what I mean? Yeah. Okay. All right. You're trying to do too much. Just go again. All you got to do, a little blip. Come on, little blip. Boom. Where's Curry there? Look at the wrist. Boom. Yeah. He doesn't try to dunk over a 7-footer. Boom. Yeah. See how much freer it gets when you don't try to do too much, right? I mean, not that good, but I come here. Apparently, this guy once was a sumo wrestler, big guy. And he sees those sensei and says, yeah, I'd like to try that out. Since it's fun, but we're not going to do it in public, so they go inside somewhere. And so what happens is somebody sneaks in. They're not supposed to be an observer. And what happens, the big guy is big, and boom, he just sort of, boom, bam. He could do it much better than I can, unfortunately. But if you come in this direction, here, second, boom, boom. But if I try to go too big, I get drawn out there because I have too much expectation. I just going to go a little bit, right? A little bit. All I got to do is make one, and then I'll make the next 10. That feeling that that's what Curry does not think. I got to make the next 10. He's thinking all I got to do is get a good rhythm for one, and probably the next 10 will go. It's a little different. Making the next 10, that may happen, but it doesn't come off of I got to make the next 10. It's more like, let me just kind of find myself a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, the next 10 may go in. That's how champions think. I'm not going to change the world, but I can do a good thing here. And maybe that'll set a lot of other good things in motion. Okay, so go again. That's better. Now, less. Yes. Yeah. Now, you see what I mean? That is hard. Because you want to go in there and dunk the ball and win the game. And you're 6'3", and everybody out there is bigger and more athletic than you. But you got one thing they don't have. You can shoot out to 40 feet, and you can handle and dribble through a crowd. Okay. And you're a lot more athletic than people give you credit for, and that works to your advantage. That people don't think you're athletic. But you flick of the wrist from 40 feet, game over. That's power. Not, okay, I'm going to dunk over the 7-footer. Uh-oh. Right. Okay. Let's move on in here a bit. Okay. Okay. You two, let's try to touch base here a bit. Okay. So what I want you to do, these are exercises you can do. That point is always there. I get too busy. This gets too noisy. This gets a little too out there. And that point is suspended, and it doesn't weigh anything. It had nothing to do with weight. Gravity has nothing to do with weight at all. Weight is created by mass in a gravitational field. And the gravitational field is created by space, time, and curvature. Nothing to do with weight. There's mass. We're not going to all of a sudden be a 2-ton person. Stephen Curry is not going to wake up and weigh 400 pounds. But a little flick of the wrist from 45 feet decides the game. That's power. That's why he gets no respect. Everybody says, well, we want the big guy. We want conventional basketball athletics. He doesn't. That's the new paradigm. We got to win and we got to dominate. Well, no, let's just be creative and victories will happen. And the Neanderthals that run basketball and judge that what basketball is don't get that yet. So don't be a Neanderthal. That point is your gateway to some freedom. How much does it weigh? Now that point can rotate. It can drop. It can ascend. I haven't gone to where I can kind of fly off the planet. I wish I could, but I can't. So, But in theory, if I could create like Green Lantern with his ring, a kind of a curvature up there, yeah, that would pull me. Might pull some other stuff, but if I could say, okay, curvature, you are now bonded to my electromagnetic vibration. Then yeah, we could levitate. Okay. Haven't gotten that good. Okay. But right here, I don't have to feel the pull of the earth. Of course. In fact, this is suspended, so the earth is giving it stability, not pulling it down. And conversely, if I start to kind of go too far up, to drift, which is different than suppose a computer, but there's at the desk. Blank screen, nothing's happening. This is your chair. That's the best computer in the universe. And down there is a stabilizer. And you're at that point, and it's just there hanging with no mass. It can spin. And does it move? I move, but the point doesn't so much. Okay, I gotta move. No, that's rotating. Okay. Or conversely, wait, I gotta calm down. That's already calm. Yeah, fine. So a lot of times when you're doing the techniques, that's an important thing, whether it's this or that, or Kodigaishi and Ikkyo. Those are all important. You learn them. I don't think Einstein was the most brilliant mathematician, but he knew enough to let his imagination create relativity. He created it. It existed before, but he saw the universe a different way because he didn't exist before. He had to imagine it for it to exist. So our motion, for example, here, over here. Okay. Don't try to do too much. See, that can really, the little blip can turn into a big wave. But when you go for the big wave too quick, I love the theory, the theater of Curry, because a lot of this stuff is that, he smashes it down, and asserts his male dominance. His stuff is much different. We were playing, what was it, the #1 team in the time of the East. And he wins the game by hitting 3 or 4 of these impossible threes, and they all, you don't know if they're going to go in because they go out there and take so long. And then they go, wow. And then he hits another one, he hits another one, he hits another one. And it's almost like when that ball is in midair and you don't know whether it's going to go in or not, that's how that, and you're Stephen Curry. You're not forcing. Yeah, you have your mechanics, you know how to set your feet, and everything, but what he does is much different than most anybody else in the league. So when he puts up balloons from 3 feet, and you're going, I don't know, and it goes nothing but net through, and the rest of the team is going, wow, is going, holy crap. Because he doesn't win by dominating. And most of the time, I mean, it's really, okay, it's macho, male thing. And that goes from executives to teammates, all that curves limp. Yes, 3Bs too. As long as you keep thinking that way, you're in the angel room. And I'm in the computer room, the best computer room. Keep thinking that way. Yeah, the wrestling match you're going to win. But the game is an Aikido. It's not make the shot, it's find you. Okay? All right. What to do is we're going to go into, because we have somebody that's here to certify. Now, what it is a little bit is, what I found out about Einstein is he was not a great student because he didn't go to class. He was, well, yeah, he'd show up to take tests. He was smart. He didn't do best in the class, but okay, I don't need that stuff. I don't need to go. Now, that's not necessarily the best thing, but sometimes classical education pollutes you, teaches you, what you should think as opposed to how to think. And so what happens is that you learn all this stuff, but your imagination gets trapped. At that point, what do? You imagine it to exist. If you're thinking about it, you're too messy. If you're trying to do that point out there, you're letting weight and mass out there define you. So a couple of things. Where does it start? It doesn't start with your physical body tensing and doing it. It starts with your imagination. So how do you get to that point? You may know about it, look at a picture of it, diagram. Imagination. Imagination is not thinking. You read about it, you can discuss it. But there it's just right in you. And that's your ticket to a lot more fun than we normally give ourselves. It's not meditation, but we're just hanging. We're being cool. Not too big, harder, hopefully. Okay. We're just hanging. Right now, we're pretty close now. We lose pretty easily. Okay. Somebody you think about it after, you have to have your balance. You work. Is that my mind? And I tell you, kind of it's a pain. It's a problem. If you have played with him, he'd be scoring 80 points. But instead, where's Steph? Well, Steph has got to create it. It's nice teammates, right? And I know we have energy. Okay? Okay, let's kind of go. I saw an ocean thing, and I think it on the place. Whoops. Yeah. So, you know, part of that, you can surprise how powerful imagination is when you hear. That's just imaginary. No, imagination is what's real thing in the universe. It's just we the circumstances out there, and we're out there, we can't do anything. So let's just start to just pause for a bit. That's all we're doing. Okay, now we're going to go into a math class. You're going to be Albert. Your attendance is spotty, and you learn it enough to do what you're supposed to do. And I'm your math teacher saying, Albert, you're hopeless. You'll never do anything. You'll wind up in a patent office. You know, you're never going to be a professor. Well, he did it his own way. Yeah, but he won a couple of Nobel, at least one Nobel Prize. So that opens doors for you. Okay, so let's move back there. Okay, we'll go through the set, then we're going to have Yarrow run through this exam. So,
Video
okay,
quality,
so what
audio
this
quality is
is
getting
we're going
garbled.
to go through the 30 movement misogi with the staff spear. Okay, I may have a couple of people go through it. Okay, lead, and then you're going to lead.
Say that again.
Audio
Okay.
quality is getting
So,
garbled.
Yeah, I
movement
know.
number
Nothing I
one.
can do about it. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, movement number one, right hand, left hand. Two, see it goes rightward and then spirals up. Three goes leftward, spirals down. Four, boom, goes right into your core. Boom. Five, ready position. Six, thrust, boom. Seven, I go leftward, boom, and that's both up and down for seven. Eight, rethrust. 9, switch hands, go to the right side. 10, that's all first change. Thumbs face away. Thumbs face each other. That's 11, step forward thrust. 12, up and down strike. 13, that's all second change. Now, right thumb towards you. 14, thrust back. 15, thrust forward. Thumbs face each other. Pivot, turn, cut. 16, 17. Again, this is your first change hand-wise, but what's the gravity well? All of a sudden, space-time curves underneath us. I'm out there trying to twist your knuckles where it's supposed to be for your own kill. The gravity well. That's 18, 19, 20, 21, now 22. That's the Gokyo motion. Okay, 23, two-handed figure eight. 24, back. 25, first of the fire water center circle change, step back. 26, no step, just a turn. 27, fire water, but in that other dimension here. Now 28, sweep, cut, pivot. 29 and 30. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Anthony come out. Okay. Lead through the 30. Okay. Cliff, you want to try it? Okay, that's good. Okay, a euro. I want you to come out, and the only thing is you just lead. It's easy to do when you're in a group. Okay, so I'm going to get back, give you a bit more space. So begin. Okay, good. Ken, you want to try it? Want to try it? Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good enough. You got the movements. I would work a little bit more. I said that's good enough. We'll certify you. Okay, but keep working on it because it's a little vague. You see what I mean? Yeah, but that's fine. Okay, so we got 2 certifications today. Let me check the time just to make sure we're 12:30. Oh, 12:30. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Equations, algorithms. Okay. Um, one time when I was in Hikizuchi Sensei's, let me come a little closer. One time when I was in Hikizuchi Sensei's office, you know, he kind of pulled out the scroll that the sensei gave him. And it, you know, it was no internet, no fancy online program. So it was somebody, sensei had commissioned, drew a series of, you know, figure line drawings, okay? And it was on a scroll. And poof. And so, you know, it was kind of like, I mean, I was some which I read about, but apparently it was no senseis, you know, reading, just said, each of the movements, I mean, it was, this was one, this was one, right? I mean, it's like, this one, this was one. I mean, it's very, just basically, and, basically what Osensei told, well, he's presented to Hikisuchi Sensei that each of those lines, was that could give birth to 10,000 movements. And that if you really understood these movements, you understood IT. Okay? So you can see the movements as forms. That's probably the first level. But, for example, when you start to activate the larger sense, okay, on the computer that takes forever to warm up, and I can't load a whole bunch of stuff on it. And okay, but on the other hand, I'm going to stuck with that. I never do anything. Yeah. I've been watching a show called Young Sheldon. It's a follow-up on Big Bang Theory, where Sheldon's being raised, and he works a paper out to pay for a computer. And then, of course, the parents find out that he can do things like their taxes for him and do all this stuff. So it becomes a windfall, right? Wow, look at we got this genius kid. And first he has to really just he's got to do this horrible paper route to pay for it. Okay. But once he gets it, it benefits everybody. It's cute. It's a cute thing because, the main character in Big Bang Theory, it has actor Jim Parsons. He narrates it. So it has a feel that it's connected to the original show. But that area right there where, okay, I'm smart, but give me a computer. I'm really smart. Okay? And so, a lot of the movements you can look at as algorithms or equations. Okay? If Albert Einstein were here, he'd show up to take the test, and you wouldn't see him a lot because he'd be at a pub, or dreaming about relativity in the universe. So what we're about a little bit, most forms, movement number one, right, it's a blocking motion, boom, then an attacking motion. And what Hikisuchi Sensei said, he went left. He went left, not right. But something he on his tippy toes here, right. That sort of movement. And it's a difficult show without the contact, just body to body. But I was in his home, and it was a friend. We were both from Santa Cruz, and she did a lot of the time. She was really good. I mean, it's kind of too bad she stopped doing Aikido because she was someone, talk about Linda Holiday, really, really, really good. Mary Heine Sensei, really, really, really good. Well, this woman had a lot of potential. But they've continued, so they've developed, right? Somebody didn't have somebody that, and she just, for whatever reason, just stopped training. I just you honor that. So we're at Hikisuchi Sensei's house, and so all of a sudden, there it is, right there in his living room. He's not holding a weapon, but he's kind of going, he's kind of showing these movements, and and then he kind of has me grab two hands here, and he does this motion, and he liked this one. Irimi Nage, or he liked this one. Right? And so, what's really funny about it is that, what I really got out of that was I got this motion. You know, because somebody's coming in, you draw them in, and then you enter, right? You see, Rimi Nage wasn't, you know, he could make it really big circular, but Ano Sensei did that. And Yanase Sensei kind of worked that in a different quality. Because Uchi Sensei's Rimi is like everything was just very, very, very whatever, right? It was no wasted motion. He was a given 10th degree black belt, so, you know, we study what he was doing. And then what happened, I was watching a video of him that was narrated by Lauren Hare. And I was watching his Rimi Nage. I said, you know, that day in 1974, I missed half of the lesson. And so one of the things that I've been doing, really, up and down. And then I was watching him do see what I got that motion. Okay. And when I was watching him, you know, this motion. Not that, but okay. And it's difficult to show because, you know, a lot of what he would do, for example, is that, you know, you've got to go from here to there, and there's your partner. And when you're going here to there, there's kind of an opening. And, you know, and he wouldn't, you know, I mean, you know, he just punch you or elbow you when you try to get behind him. But, you know, like the Rimi motion, for example, here, okay, I got to get over there. Well, yeah, see, that's what happens. Okay, now, I'm going to say a little bit. This is hard to do in this particular one. I sure got the back forward of it. But what I kind of was missing was that motion. God, okay. And that was there in the motion, but I was thinking, So what I'm trying to do is the 30 movements at that level where you can demonstrate it is kind of unbad. It's, you know, okay. Einstein had to have enough to go off. And what is that? Okay. Now, the other thing, and I began to kind of go, okay, let's reconstruct some things. Like for example, we can't do here, but Kenshin Nage, he would move a little off the line. And then you try to do that, he would knee you. So that's an opening, right? I thought you was just me, but he got Yanase Sensei once. You know, I thought, well, okay, this guy's a, you know, he's a Shihan level guy, so, you know. But I noticed a little bit, for example, Hikizuchi, what I was doing, I'll go this way, and Hikizuchi Sensei would go that way. Boom, therefore, you know, the person, then you take that step. And so, you know, I'm just trying to explain each of those movements in the 30 have an obvious, the general ed meaning. Okay. And they're like equations. You know, there are things hidden there. Okay. And the other thing that's kind of interesting was a lot of times, for example, pretty nice. But he was not full. It was kind of moved to the side. But most of the time you do this, you can't turn the wrist. So I'm going through this a little. Boom, boom. Instead of that full motion, boom. So boom. And he drew me on something. We were at a shrine, and we had to go inside. No mats, just wooden floor. And we're doing a multiple. He liked to do stuff like that. So I come at him. And then he knows me with Kodagatsu. He kind of goes, it was almost like he got such a economic. In other words, we go here, then we try to turn the wrist out there. Boom, 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 boom. And I was looking at almost all movement come out of the first, I mean, we have the misogi, 1, 2, 3, 4, but then 5. See, you get the sense of it right there. Just this motion, as opposed to 4. He always went left. And Nado Sensei says, Jack, most of the time Sensei was standing in a left harmony, which is your spear thrust position. Now, let's say he's coming this way. So, what I did is a harder move. Okay, we're here. Okay, boom. Yeah. But if I'm here, see, I go, oh, see that? That's why it's harder. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, Sensei set up, apparently according to those Sensei, in the leftward. But what do? Well, instead of going setting to move to a set position, where are the angles are? You won't sit down. Where are the angles? Now I have to set to get to where I'm going to create the angle. The angle's already working. Those two movements. They really mean okay? It's already done. And so I was thinking, I got about half that lesson. I remember it still. And now I was watching, the videos of them doing it. I was thinking, this change right here. This algorithm is a very important one. So what's here, and what's here, and what's here, and what's here, or even if he's coming, what's here? Or if he's coming this way, what's here? Or here, then he comes in again. See, each of those drawings, I was thinking, okay, I'm looking for something fancy, right? Oh, I get to see the secret scroll, and maybe I can steal something. That's what your young mind looks at. It was just plain stuff. And so, the relativity was plain view. But everybody was so in love with Newton, it took, Newton's fine here. But when you start to go big, vast light years, it doesn't apply anymore. So, distance equals speed times time, and that just didn't equate. And so finally, what Einstein had to actually say is, the speed of light is a constant. You can't go faster than 182,000 miles per second. So what's the variable that's creating this? If you go there, it's time. Time is a variable. Time doesn't hold when you've got vast distances in light speed. Light holds, time doesn't. So all of a sudden he goes, wow. And then, he has enough math to be able to do this. He breaks. That's got off, and then later he found out that he made a calculation there. He had to go back. Some people think his wife did it. So, there's a point where, but, it got to where one side of the equation was mathematics, geometry, whatever. The other one was physics. And there was that equal sign. Okay? And, the sense of it, I would place what we're really talking about, that the third thing that the bend space-time consciousness, that's the equal sign. I think that equal sign was understood. I think that was his Ame no Ukihashi. Okay? One side, heaven, math, mind, earth, physics, equal sign. You're standing on that equal sign. What is that equal sign? It's consciousness. Now, what we do with it, I don't know. But I think a lot of open. Some people would get up, go deeper on algorithms, as opposed to, okay, let's keep it in general ed, And, there's a point where not everybody does that. There's some pretty high level stuff going on. But I've always been fascinated by the sense that Osensei was like Einstein. And, to some degree, his understanding of psychology, the archetypes, the gods, goddesses, all the Shinto stuff was more Jungian. And that equal sign is probably mind, body, self. And that's where he stood, my sense of it, my intuitive sense. Okay? So if here, for example, one of the things here, he sees me because light reflects back. Okay, now everybody can. Consciousness doesn't reflect that. To some degree, there's a certain sense right here. And that motion example, okay, we go here, I'm going to run into him. Okay, but right here, for example, we go, see that change right there? And then the down, we're not going to get the down is a throw. So, what I'm trying to do is inspire you. Okay. And that's that, this has been great for me because, all of a sudden, other than these classes, usually I'm so busy teaching classes, right? Your mind gets, okay, I gotta go to the next class, blah, 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 blah. This is like, okay, there's a pandemic, so, you're left by yourself. Like you're in the patent room, right? Going, okay, let's look at the algorithm here and see if we can get past a lot of this stuff to a deeper level. So as much as, this whole situation has been very sucky, it sucks. It's a good time to go, okay, I can develop this. This doesn't take you anywhere. Okay, this will get me to. No, this takes you to you. This would take it to self. Self is not the math. That's mind. Self is not the physics. That's body. Self is the equal sign. It's both and also is itself. So the point, and there are other ways to get there than the point, is about the equal sign. When Osensei said, he said, okay, if you do nothing else You must stand on the floating bridge. And he also said stuff like, if you don't stand on the floating bridge, real Aikido will come forth. Okay, so you have the original mind of creation, the math, the original body of creation, the laws of physics, da 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 da, okay. Well, and I don't expect a Nobel Prize, by the way. Okay. The key thing Einstein did, he put that equal sign out, didn't he? He had to be good enough, and he made mistakes on his way to being able to get that equation. It's the equal sign. That's the point. That's you. That's me. That's us. Okay? That a little clearer. So some of the stuff sometimes gets a little, I mean, I like thinking around with things. I like looking at, his descriptions of gods and goddesses, in Carl Jung's terms. And I like, for example, when he's talking about the universe, there's a lot of this stuff. If you go past the general ed, if you're general ed, you listen to what he says, you go, that's either gibberish or I'll never get it. And what I just try to lay out is in a lot of ways is okay. This is our, our theory of, I don't know what you call it. Everything is relative, okay? But the equality of something is not. You see what I mean? Everything shifts and changes. When two things are equal, they're equal. They're not relative. Okay, I know I might be wrong. Okay, I have to, research that a little bit. They're equal. Their relationship is their equality. It's not the relativeness of it, it's the equalness of them. And when Osensei could say, okay, heaven and earth, and we're standing on that floating bridge where we're right there, one way of describing that is probably this point. And so today we just kind of worked around, that. I mean, there are other things that are equally good. Space is good. You can also work imagery. Those are all tools, okay? But the point is the point. There's curry that went 2 for 10, and there's a curry that went 5 for 7. Now scored the other team in the third quarter. That was like, when you look at that, you think, there's something going on other than he turned it around. He flipped a switch. You see what I mean? In a lot of ways, I mean, none of us going to play in the NBA and make 40 million, but it'd be nice to be able to do that. Flip the switch on the pandemic. Flip the switch on racial intolerance. Flip the switch on bipartisan stupidity. There's a lot of things that'd be nice if we caught this. Okay, the Aikido is supposed to give us some basics for it. Okay, so today we worked a little bit more, focused on here. Where is it? It's right there. If you drift, you lose it. If you tense and set, you lose it. But after a while, before that motion, this turn, but it also is very still. Here, the better computer allows you access to your imagination. And we have a stupid, klutzy general educational computer up here that we keep banging on because this gives us the same stupid information for non-information. But we got the ticket to a much better this and a much better that. And again, if we go back to relativity, one half of it math, the other half of it, laws of physics, body. There's an equal sign, that's you or me, that's self. Soul, true self, whatever you want to call it. The floating bridge, there's a lot of ways we can try to name it. But the actual practice of it, anytime you can do that, in other words, just keep your focus here and let things flow out there. If you start to drift, You know, that Budo-wise is not good. But then when I start to sit in opposition to it, then I create subject object, which exists, you know, but our solution is increasingly, this is the unifying principle. Self unifies, equals, the bridge between. Okay, so you know that's my my theory, at least at the moment. Okay, anyway, let's line up. Ah, okay, thank you very much. It's a beautiful day. Yeah.
Sunday's Mother's Day.
What?
Next Sunday is Mother's Day.
Oof, Mother's Day. Well, my sense is I'll probably be here, realizing probably nobody else will be here. Yeah, but you know, I mean, that's the point where that's point well taken. And then there's Father's Day somewhere there, thereabouts. Not anywhere near as popular as Mother's Day, but you know, I think what's interesting about that show, Young Sheldon, you kind of go back and you see his father, the football coach, and you see his mom, the religious fundamentalist, and then there's Sheldon. Right? It's almost like if you look at it, then there's his brother and his sister. And you know, it's really interesting that he's totally out of context when he's really a tiny kid. And that's continued all the way up to, you know, the popular sitcom. But no, he didn't all of a sudden in the 10th grade become the Sheldon of the Big Bang. He was just young Sheldon. He was that way already. I'm 6 years old. I want a computer. Okay. But see, that's a lot of what the 1 point is. It's tricky because in a lot of ways you have a lot of history that weighs us down. This is who I am. This is what I can do. Well, the 1 point you're conduit to much more. And so, you know, and there are other ways to kind of touch that. It's just that today, you know, when I noticed, you know, looking at some photos of me and Master Joy, okay, and he's doing this much, just not even half of it. He's here, okay, and then I look at myself and I'm here, and I said, what's the difference? He's here, not that much lower, and I'm here, and I start to say, you know, he's standing with that point suspended, supporting his motion. And I'm supported by my legs. And I'm a lot younger in that photo. And somehow here, you see this point is supporting him. Okay? And then you have the rest of it, you know, you go this way, well, he's got this, and how do I get down there? Well, see, that point can sink. I was thinking, yeah, there's some videos of his father. His father really has a lot of ground. Master Choi had the point. He's a lot freer. Okay. So anyway, that's why we started getting into this thing about that. We'll bring it up in the Tai Chi. By the way, we're looking at for places to open temporarily. Hopefully what's going to work out is we have the 3rd Street property when the stuff of the city's worked out. But due to the pandemic and the city being what the city is, it's going to be a while. But things are going to open up. We need to open up. I think we can still do outdoor classes. I had a meeting with Lou Birmingham Sensei, and this was with the Saratoga Los Gatos Rec Department. Now Lou Sensei ran a program that was very successful through Los Gatos, but we actually have a meeting in Saratoga, and that is a great facility. You have mats, changing rooms. The outdoors, you feel like you're in nature. This is better because you got trees, much softer, but that is like really good. And they're looking for things. So we submitted our stuff. And the thing to do is, you know, start offering classes, my thought is that, once indoor starts, there are certain things you got to do, like take everybody's temperature, put it on the mat, and things like that. But I hope everybody, is going to be vaccinated or is vaccinated already. Okay, please do that if you can. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, I'm a dictator, something like that. But it's, I don't even know if it's enforceable where you can't come into the class. But we still do the masks and everything. But if you're vaccinated, somebody else may not be. You're going to feel a lot better about any level of proximity or contact. Okay, and so we're looking at that. There's a couple of other. There's another place we're going through to maybe get another location. I think it'd be better to have more than one. For certain people, might be closer to one than the other. The Saratoga one is about 20 minutes away, and right now their weekends are totally open apparently. But we're thinking about a Tuesday or Wednesday night. That's why we're keeping, and the Monday night we're doing the Tai Chi, but we're going to continue the Thursday online. But I'm waiting because the other place Monday may be the best place.
So there's your actual,
What?
Monday there's actual physical class for Tai Chi?
Well, I would be, we can try to get kids, all right, adults, mixed. But the way I look at it, what I do is, depending on the time we have, advertise it as a beginner's course that's mixed. And so what we do is we, advanced people, you help out a little bit. But I've done this at San Jose State. You let people that have done Aikido before, you work together, so we can put you into a whole different thing. And, I can kind of work with the beginners, or we can somebody rotate for 10 minutes, help out with the beginners, stuff like that. It's just, we got to be very creative right now because you can't afford to rent on Market anymore. It's just the sad fact. We're way down in terms of, the actual income. We're hanging in there, which is good. If things stay at this level, then hopefully and if we're able to open, the classes may be a good feeder class for when 3rd Street opens. Is Aikido out there again? You see what I mean? A little bit more accessible. Okay, that's the problem with it. Is a lot of times, when in the late 70s, Aikido didn't used to have schools. The only school in this area was Mountain View with Nado Sensei. There was a couple of things in San Francisco. Then all of a sudden, in the mid to late 70s, Aikido schools came into existence. San Francisco, Nado Sensei opened up, Britt and Duran Sensei, and Camel Pius opened up. We opened up here. Santa Cruz for a long time was just a university club. Linda Sensei opened off campus. Eventually, she was smart, much smarter and more organized than me. And she got her own building. That's great. That's where our calligraphy is right now. She's watching. Because one of the reasons we moved out of the location, you take care, was our Sensei statue got stolen. And so I just said, well, we got to move the calligraphy. We got to move all this stuff out. So we did. So, this all just, it's just, we don't know where it's going to go. So we're kind of making it up as we go, so to speak. But we want to have a couple of locations, which, will allow us to do indoor when that becomes feasible, and continue to do the outdoors, and we continue to do the online classes. Okay. So those aren't going to stop, but just being able to get together and do the evenings, let's say, group will be big. So we're working on that. Anyway, I'm going to take off. So thank you all. Yeah.
Work on more specifically on the 30 minutes.
Yeah. Just